Hi everyone, I'm Nicholas Chautala, Curator of Cultural History at the New Jersey State Museum, bringing you the latest installment in our short video series tied to our newest exhibition, Fine Feathered Friends, Birds as Mainstay and Muse. In my first video, I talked about the osprey that the famed 19th century artist John James Audubon painted here in New Jersey and included in his monumental volume Birds of America, really one of the most important illustrated bird books of all time. Well, it turns out there's lots of interest in Audubon, and a number of viewers reached out to me asking what other species he painted while living here in the Garden State. So today's video is just that. Audubon's other Jersey birds. There's really no way to know all of the species that John James Audubon painted here in New Jersey. I've decided only to include those species for which we have substantial evidence showing they are truly Jersey birds. There are other species that we can classify as maybes, since there are some clues, but none definitive. Let's start with the Warbling Vireo. So much of Audubon's work documenting the birds of America was spent in woods, swamps, rivers, and other backcountry habitats. But his study of this little bird with its beautiful trilling song couldn't have been easier. He observed and painted it while looking out the window of his residence in Camden, where he resided for part of the year in 1829. Listen to what he had to say about the experience. Quote, "While at the little village, now the city of Camden in New Jersey, where I had gone for the purpose of watching the passage of certain warblers on their way north early in the month of May, I took lodgings in a street ornamented with a long avenue of tall Lombardy poplars, one of which almost touched my window. On it, too, I had the pleasure shortly afterwards of finding the nest of this interesting little bird. Never before had I seen it placed so low, and never before had I an opportunity of examining it, or of observing the particular habits of the species with so much advantage." End quote. The location of the home in which he lived and watched the Warbling Vireo was on Cooper Street, near the intersection of 3rd Street in downtown Camden. Audubon's Blackpool Warbler is a serious long-distance migrant that breeds in the boreal forests of Canada, but passes through New Jersey on its record-breaking trek to the Caribbean. In order to survive the journey, these birds have to double their body mass before setting out, using the food stores to sustain them en route. Two other species of warblers that Audubon painted here in New Jersey were the Connecticut warbler, an elusive, hard-to-see species, so named only because they were first well documented in Connecticut, and Wilson's warbler, which Audubon called the green black-capped flycatcher, but was later renamed for the great ornithologist Alexander Wilson. Sometimes the foliage in Audubon's prints gives clues as to where he painted a particular bird species. His eastern screech owls are the red morphs of the species. They can also be found in a gray color. These tiny little raptors sleep in holes in trees by day and hunt small animals and insects by night. Their call is a ghostly whinnying sound. Audubon employed other artists to help him with the landscapes and foliage that appear in his prints. His forte was the birds themselves. But look at the name of the tree in which his screech owls reside, a Jersey pine. Jersey pine is an antiquated, localized name for the Virginia pines that are found here in the Garden State. In the summer of 1829, Audubon spent a few weeks at Great Egg Harbor, New Jersey, living with a local fisherman's family and painting the many bird species that lived in the area. Two of the bird species he painted there were the marsh wren, which Audubon depicts on its interesting oblong or football-shaped nest, and the seaside sparrow, a species that resides almost exclusively in coastal salt marshes along the eastern seaboard. Great Egg Harbor was also the home of Audubon's vesper sparrow. This sparrow, however, is not really known as a coastal bird. It's widespread in open grassy habitats throughout most of North America. Its name relates to when it likes to sing, when the sun goes down, the same time of day as the Christian prayer known as Vespers. Given the ocean, bay, and riverside geography of our state, you might think that the birds Audubon painted here were mostly shorebirds, or birds often associated with marshlands and large bodies of water. But Audubon also painted 3 species here in Jersey that live in deeper woodlands, showing that New Jersey, then as now, is a state rich in diverse habitats. Audubon's eastern wood pewee is an unassuming little flycatcher that today you won't find in your yard or on your bird feeders. It's a species that prefers the deeper woods, hence the first part of its name. The second part of its name, pewee, is exactly what its call sounds like. Another flycatcher Audubon painted here is the Acadian flycatcher. These little birds stay in the deep dark corners of undisturbed forests, feeding on insects. Audubon called this third woods-dwelling bird the golden-crowned thrush, but today we know it as the ovenbird. It's so named because it's a ground nester that builds a small rounded nest of leaf litter, twigs, and or mud that kind of looks like one of those domed outdoor ovens. The Ruddy Turnstone tells us something interesting about Audubon. He really liked New Jersey. All of the birds we've seen thus far he painted during his lengthy, well-documented visit in 1829. But Audubon came to New Jersey on other occasions as well. It seems that whenever he was in Philadelphia, he would take the time to go across the river to look for birds. Audubon also had a very good friend here in the Garden State, an ornithologist named Edward Harris, who lived in Moorestown. The two were lifelong friends and actually went on a number of bird collecting trips together. Audubon observed and painted this classic shorebird with coloration akin to a calico cat in May of 1824 on the Jersey side of the Delaware River near Camden. Audubon's Jersey bird number 13 is the barn swallow. We all know New Jersey is called the Garden State, a nickname that we earned because of our productive farms that supplied not only the people of New Jersey, but also Philadelphia and New York. Well, considering all of the farms strewn across South Jersey during the days of Audubon's travels, it's perhaps no surprise that he painted his barn swallows here. Of course, he chose to depict the species in their namesake location, a nest made of sticks and mud high in the rafters of a barn. And this last of the Audubon Jersey birds on our list for today, he also found near Camden, this one in June of 1832. I know what you're thinking. I've never seen a bird like that here in Jersey. Well, you're right. The fork-tailed flycatcher doesn't live here. It's from South and Central America. But birds are curious things. Sometimes a particularly violent storm will blow a lone bird off course and it will find its way to the most unlikely of places. That must have been what happened to the fork-tailed flycatcher that Audubon observed here in New Jersey. The National Audubon Society calls this bird a spectacular wanderer, since it's still being sighted here to this day. In the near lifetime he spent traveling around North America in search of birds, Audubon saw most species hundreds, even thousands of times. He only saw 4 of this species, 2 flying high up in the air, a dead specimen given to him in Kentucky, and the one that he reported getting up close and personal with right here in New Jersey. So there you have it, 14 of John James Audubon's other Jersey birds. That's all for this time. Keep an eye out for more short videos tied to the New Jersey State Museum exhibition, Fine Feathered Friends, Birds as Mainstay and Muse.